The following clip was recorded by a man named Nate, who has spent months trying to understand what's happening inside his house. His experiences didn't begin all at once. They built up slowly. First, it was the voices, faint, unclear, and easy to dismiss. Then came the scratches, thin marks appearing on his skin overnight with no explanation. And then the kitchen became the center of it all. Objects shifting, things falling, and disturbances that made it impossible for more than a few quiet days to pass. But one morning, everything felt different and too quiet until this happened.
So I'm in the middle of working out, and I hear shuffling and banging coming from the kitchen or the basement. I'm not sure which one. It was loud though, super loud. I almost dropped the weights, it was so startling. Hello? I was just in there working out. Nobody in the kitchen. Back door is locked. Nobody here, of course. What the fuck? Okay. I don't understand that. What the fuck?
After Nate says hello, a voice responds, "You hear me?" Then when Nate says, "I don't understand," something whispers again, but whatever it says isn't fully clear. Many viewers believe the voice sounds like a child, meaning the spirit of a child might be attached to the home, especially since child spirits are often associated with scattering objects and trying to get attention. But others aren't convinced it's harmless because scratches, whispers, and intelligent responses don't always point to something innocent. But I'll leave you to be the judge. This next video was captured inside Aston Hall in Birmingham, a 400-year-old mansion widely known for its long and violent history. Over the years, staff and visitors have reported things they couldn't explain. Some claim to have seen the former housekeeper sitting quietly in the Great Hall long after her death. Others talk about the spirit of a young servant boy who allegedly took his own life in the attic after being accused of stealing. And in the kitchen, there are stories of a former owner who ended the life of a chef with a meat cleaver, with witnesses saying the area never felt the same after. One day, while touring the attic, a group of visitors began filming casually when something happened. Watch closely.
Mary?
Did you see it?
Mary? Mary? Are you still in there, Mary? You can come out now. My name's Thomas. Hello.
A shadowy figure appears to run past, and if you heard one of the tourists calling the name Mary, there's a reason for that. According to legend, Mary Holt, known as the Grey Lady, was locked inside the attic by her father after she tried to run away with someone he didn't approve of. She was kept there for 16 years, slowly losing her sanity until she eventually died in isolation. Some believe the figure in the video could be connected to her, still trapped in the place where her life ended. Others say shadows can easily be misinterpreted, but after suffering something like that, does a person's presence ever truly leave? Or does some part of them remain behind? Until more explorers are bold enough to visit the mansion and share more updates, this remains a mystery. Now, this next clip was captured by a family's CCTV camera, and it's the exact moment the father finally stopped dismissing everything his family had been experiencing. For months, strange things had been happening inside their home. The kids would run into the room crying, saying they saw someone standing nearby. His wife would occasionally freeze mid-conversation, convinced she had just heard a voice close to her ear. But every time, he reassured them it was nothing. Stress, imagination, or the house settling. Until one evening when he was alone babysitting their youngest child while working on his computer. Watch this.
Ball.
He's not catching ball with you?
Yeah.
You need somebody to play ball?
As you can see, the refrigerator door suddenly opens on its own. He immediately stands and walks toward it, clearly expecting to find someone standing there, maybe one of the kids or an explanation he could finally point to. But there's nothing. Some people believe this could be a poltergeist, a type of presence known for physically interacting with objects, opening doors, and making its presence known in subtle but deliberate ways. And now, for the first time, he's no longer trying to explain it away. He's trying to find answers. Until then, this remains unsolved. The following footage was captured by a CCTV camera in a woman's yard at around 3 a.m., an hour many people already associate with unexplained activity. At first, everything looks normal and the yard is quiet, still, and completely empty. But then, out of nowhere, something appears. Watch this carefully. After reviewing the footage, she said she couldn't convince herself it was anything normal. She insists there was no one outside that night. No neighbors, no visitors, no one who could explain what her camera captured. Moments like this raise a disturbing thought, because every night while most people are asleep, the world becomes quiet enough for other things to move unnoticed. Things that pass through empty streets, across silent yards, and disappear long before anyone ever realizes they were there. The camera simply caught what the human eye wasn't meant to see. So the question is, what exactly walked through her yard that night? You decide. This next video was recorded by a woman who works at a 911 dispatch center, a place where every call could mean the difference between life and death. And if you've ever worked late nights in a building like that, you know how quiet it gets. Because once the calls stop coming in, once the radios fall silent, there's nothing left but empty hallways, dim lights, and your own thoughts. But in her case, she wasn't alone. She had already been experiencing strange things for weeks. Phones would ring. Even though they weren't connected to any active line, drawers would slowly slide open on their own, and sometimes, in the middle of complete silence, she would hear what sounded like someone whispering her name. The scariest part? It all seemed to begin the exact day her boss mentioned relocating the dispatch center to a new building, almost as if something there had heard it and didn't want them to leave. Watch this.
So I'm at work again. Polter's acting up as we're now referring to her. Maybe it's somebody. I don't know. Nobody should be here. There's literally no one here.
Places like this hold more than equipment and desks. They hold emotion, panic, fear, and final words. Dispatchers are often the last voice someone hears before everything changes forever, so a lot of people believe that kind of energy doesn't simply disappear, and in this case is finally revealing itself. After she posted that footage, viewers urged her to try communicating with whatever was there. Some believed it might be trying to get her attention. Others warned her never to acknowledge it, saying that recognition can make activity worse. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened.
So, y'all have been following my polter diaries here lately. So I'm pretty sure there's something standing in the doorway to the break room. Am I crazy, or is that somebody standing there? Y'all see that?
The moment she notices the movement, her entire body freezes, because this time there's no denying it. Something is there with her. Her boss eventually stepped in, promising she wouldn't have to work alone anymore, but his decision wasn't just about protecting her, it was about confirming if what she was saying was true. One night she returned, this time with someone else present, and what they captured next changed everything.
Hey guys, this is just an update to let you all know that I'm okay. I'm back at work today, but I'm no longer working by myself. I have someone here with me. Everything's been fine so far. We haven't had anything today, so... And here we go. What was that? What? It came from the hallway. Oh my god. No. Oh my god.
The thought that someone was in the attic or came out from the attic unsettled them. And since that night, there's been no clear explanation of what was truly inside that dispatch center, only the footage, and the disturbing possibility that some places remember every emergency that ever happened inside them. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared and talked about locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail, hoping to understand why so many unexplained incidents are still being reported there. Built in the late 1800s, the jail once held inmates, law enforcement, and the sheriff himself under the same roof. Over time, stories began to surface. Visitors reported hearing footsteps when no one else was inside. Others claimed to hear doors moving, objects shifting, and sounds that resembled someone quietly working in empty rooms. Ian enters the building fully aware of its history, so he begins by trying to communicate with whatever might still be there. For a while, nothing responds, until this happens.
All right, well, it's pretty quiet, so I think I'm gonna move on. Whoa, what the? Okay, Ed, I feel like you were definitely in here. What the heck was that? That was so weird. What the heck? Dude, that literally sounded like somebody was in there. What the heck? It was so quiet in there. Like nothing was happening. And then right when I walk out, that happens.
As he prepares to leave the sheriff's office, a very distinct sound breaks the silence. It sounds exactly like a coffee cup being placed down on a hard surface. Ian immediately goes back inside to check, but there's nothing there. But as he's about to leave again, this happens.
Dude, there's nothing on these tables. Nothing up there. Ed, I'm definitely not going to try to tell you what to do, being a sheriff, but man, like that was interesting. Could you do that again? It's dead silent in here again. You know what? I'm gonna try walking out again. Okay, Ed. I'm leaving for sure this time. No f***ing way, dude. Again! Again! Dude, there's weird sounds going on in there. Every time I walk out, it happens. That's twice. That can't be like a coincidence. It sounded like paper almost. Alright, Ed, I can't tell if you're like messing with me now or what. I mean, either way, it's fine. I'm enjoying this.
This time, he heard the sound of paper moving, as if someone was inside the office, the very room where paperwork would have been handled daily, reports would have been written, and cases would have been reviewed. So was that the sheriff's ghost still doing his office duties? Or something else entirely? In the following clip, a couple begins to notice strange, unexplained movements inside their home. It starts subtly, items not being where they were left, an uneasy feeling when certain rooms go quiet, and moments where it feels like someone else is present even when they're alone. One evening, one of them notices something she's absolutely certain about. The blinds in one room are open, even though she clearly remembers closing them. She shuts them again and leaves the room. Minutes later, she returns, and the blinds are open, so this time, instead of brushing it off, she stays, pulls out her phone, and starts recording to see what's causing it. Watch closely.
Me, or is that an opening? Let me pause this shit, cause is it me? Oh my god, baby. Baby. Is it me or they fucking opening?
After the video was shared, explanations quickly followed. Some suggested the blinds might be loose or no longer tight enough, slowly slipping down on their own. Others speculated that someone could be standing outside the window. But when she stepped outside to check for footprints or signs of anyone nearby, there were none. No marks, no disturbance, nothing that could explain it. What makes this harder for the couple to dismiss is that this isn't the only strange thing they've experienced. They've openly said they believe they're gifted with sight, able to sense and see spirits, and because of past experiences, they're already open to the idea that the paranormal is very real. They've encountered unusual things outside their home as well, events that reinforce that belief. One moment that stands out happened when they took their nephew Nick to the park shortly after he lost his best friend. While spending time there, something unexpected was captured. Watch and listen closely.
This is a video of our nephew at the park, and his best friend had recently died. Let us know what you hear.
Ow, my head! My head got hurt twice!
Some people hear a voice saying, "Nick, I love you." Others believe it says, "I can help you." Was this a comforting message meant only for him, or something else entirely trying to make contact? Let me know what you heard. Now, in this next clip, a man is trying to get to the root of why his younger daughter is terrified of a particular toy. Every time she sees it, she cries. When it's brought closer, she screams and tries to get away, refusing to stay in the same room with it. She won't touch it, won't look at it for long, and becomes visibly distressed whenever it's nearby. Behavior that her parents say doesn't happen with any of her other toys. One evening, hoping to understand what was triggering such a strong reaction, the father brings the toy out again with the help of his older daughter. As they interact with it, he suddenly notices something unsettling. Watch.
Okay, pull the string.
Okay.
Let it go slow. Alright, now do it regular. Alright, I'll do it again, but a little slower.
Before jumping to conclusions, it's important to know what this toy actually is. Viewers quickly pointed out that it's a 1985 Secret Care Bear, one of the early talking toys. Unlike modern toys that use digital electronics, these older models relied on sound cylinders. The slower the pull string retracts, the slower the cylinder turns, which can cause the voice to stretch, warp, and distort, similar to forcing a vinyl record to slow down mid-play. Back in the day, many parents complained that these toys sounded disturbing, even describing the voices as demonic, but that's not where the concern ends. Some people took things much further, pointing to the symbols on the Care Bears' bellies, known as belly badges. According to proponents, these symbols resemble veves, religious markings used in voodoo practices believed to act as spiritual beacons or invitations for specific entities. While others dismiss this as coincidence or overinterpretation, those who believe in spiritual sensitivity argue that children are often more perceptive to energies adults ignore. So if this little girl reacts so strongly to this specific toy, could it really be just the distorted voice? Or is she sensing something else entirely? I'd leave you to be the judge of this one. In the following clip, a woman was just about to take a shower when her friend FaceTimed her. During the call, the friend jokingly teased her about the way she had wrapped her hair before hanging up. Laughing it off, she decided to rewrap it properly and record a short video to send back as proof she could do it better this time. But while she was recording, something completely unexpected happened. Watch closely. From her reaction alone, you can tell how deeply it shook her. And honestly, it's hard to blame her. She had already heard unsettling stories from neighbors in the building, reports of curtains moving on their own, unexplained knocking late at night, and even whispers coming from empty rooms. So when her own curtains suddenly began moving violently, not swaying gently, but tugged as if someone was deliberately pulling it, panic took over, and in that moment, running was the only thing she could think to do. But if whatever caused that movement had actually shifted into her apartment, many argue that running alone wouldn't solve anything. But is there a chance this is a one-time incident? Or should she start taking it seriously? Now, in this next video, a family had just moved into a home tucked deep in the Smoky Mountains, not far from the Appalachian Range. And according to them, it's been one disturbing incident after another since the day they arrived. At first, it was little things they tried to brush off. Strange noises at night, an uneasy feeling when the sun went down, and the sense that the woods surrounding their property were never truly quiet. But one night, the husband and son went outside to bring one of their chickens back into the coop when something suddenly charged at them from the darkness. Watch closely.
Yeah,
really faster than deer.
Towards us. Yeah, from the same fucking place, the same place.
So I shot.
Lights to the right.
I shot a couple of times.
Right, fired off around.
Well, I've shot. I think I may have even hit it.
Right there, left. I just saw eyes right there.
Yeah, we've been seeing eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Over there.
I'm going inside and I'm telling them what happened.
Telling you what happened.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. That's
this is insane.
Clearly something.
This is insane. Okay, my phone died. It literally went from 60 to 1 and then it died, okay? So we're sitting here, we realize what's going on. I say it's the chairs being drug across the concrete, okay? Then all of a sudden we hear tapping. The door is on the other side of this, right through those doors right there. The tapping was through there. That's where the hot tub is, on that side. And right along that side of the property line right there is where it was last night, okay? Then, right after 4 taps on that glass, something tried to put in a code on my front door, and it was wrong, and it went da-na-na-na, and then it left, and it was complete silence. My 2 oldest boys were at the gym. My other son, who is 16, and my husband, who protects our home mostly, okay, were gone. This thing waited until the protectors of our home were gone to intimidate us. And not 1, but 2 this time. I immediately went, I got my AR, I slammed in the clip, I flipped that motherfucker to fire, and I chambered that bitch.
Only people that were in the home were women, children, and the elderly.
I went and checked all the doors. I locked 2 doors that were unlocked. Only one of those doors had somebody been out of today. The other one has not been touched. It never is used. Nobody ever uses that entrance. I went and opened my grandpa's door. I checked on him. He said he'd been in there the whole time. I said, Grandpa, something's trying to get in the house. Do not come out. We're sweeping the house with guns. Stay in this room. Call me if you need me.
Once the video circulated, people familiar with Appalachian folklore began chiming in. Many claimed this sounded eerily similar to encounters they'd had themselves. Some suggested a rake. Others went even further, saying the behavior matched stories tied to Wendigos or skinwalkers, entities long associated with remote wooded areas and mountain regions like this. Advice poured in quickly. Viewers urged them to place iron spikes at all 4 corners of their property line. Others recommended walking the perimeter with salt as a protective barrier. A lot of people warned them to stop staring into the tree line at night, claiming that acknowledging whatever is out there can invite more activity. But just a few days later, something else happened. She went into the kitchen to grab something and noticed something completely out of place. Watch.
I never used to leave my front porch lights on. What the is that? Hey yo, what the is that? Oh, no, 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 no.
After this second clip, interest in her story exploded, and that's when she shared something deeply personal. According to her, she's had a paranormal attachment since she was a toddler. She claims it eventually left after she rededicated her life to Christ, but she also admits that strange experiences have followed her family over the years, and now, since moving to this area, whatever it is feels stronger, more aggressive, and far more frequent. So the question remains, is this activity tied to the land, the deep woods and ancient energy of the Appalachian Mountains? Or is something from her past finding its way back to her now? Let me know what you think. This next video was captured on Christmas Day, a time most people associate with peace, family, and quiet moments at home. But for this family, whatever has been haunting their house didn't take a break for the holidays. They had already been dealing with unexplained activity for weeks. Still, they hoped Christmas would at least bring some calm. Well, it didn't. Take a look. At the very beginning, a voice can be heard clearly saying Eva, followed shortly after by Simon, the exact names of people living inside the house. That detail alone is what made this clip especially disturbing. Many believe that when a spirit uses someone's real name, it's not random. In some belief systems, speaking a person's name is thought to establish a stronger connection, almost like marking them. And then there are those who warn that this kind of behavior signals escalation, a sign that the activity is moving beyond noises and into direct interaction. Skeptics tried to make their points, but for the family, hearing their names spoken inside their own home on Christmas Day of all days didn't feel like coincidence. So what do you think this was? A spirit trying to communicate, or something darker attempting to latch on? Now, this next clip was also recorded on Christmas Day, and interestingly, many people believe this is a time when houses can become more active, not less. Across different cultures and belief systems, Christmas is often described as a kind of thin moment, where emotions run high, memories are stirred, and homes are filled with energy tied to family, loss, and tradition. Paranormal enthusiasts often claim that spirits are more active during holidays because of this emotional intensity. There are countless reports tied specifically to Christmas: footsteps heard while everyone is asleep, ornaments moving on their own, voices captured on recordings during gift opening, and even children claiming to see unfamiliar figures standing near trees or doorways. And for the lady in this video, Christmas Day was no exception. Watch this.
Me encanta porque se me abrió la puerta del ropero sola. No, pero escúchame una cosa. Nos quedamos donde estamos acá, no saludamos a nadie, chao. Buenas noches, nos vamos todos a dormir.
After this clip was shared, the comments section quickly filled up as viewers began sharing their own Christmas-related experiences. So now it's your turn. Have you ever experienced something strange on Christmas Day or during the holidays? Or was it just a coincidence? Now, this next clip was captured by a family we've featured on this channel before. A family whose house situation has been one of the hardest for viewers to make sense of. On the very first day of the year, while most people were sleeping peacefully or welcoming a fresh start, this family barely managed an hour of rest. Watch.
Espérame, voy a ver allá abajo, no hay nada acá.
At first glance, it might be easy for some to dismiss this as staged, but the reactions of the children tell a very different story. This is pure fear, the kind of fear that comes from living with something you don't understand and can't escape from. Many viewers keep repeating the same advice, just move. But how easy is that really? When funds are limited, when the housing market is tight, and when every affordable option feels out of reach, leaving isn't as simple as packing bags and walking away. The family says they've tried everything they know, so this is one mystery that refuses to let go. The following clip was recorded by Melhia Davis, a woman who is fully convinced that her house is haunted. For months, she's been dealing with things she just can't explain. Faint footsteps in the hallway long after everyone is asleep, doors clicking open in the early hours of the morning, and the feeling of being watched whenever she walks past her kids' rooms. One night, after putting her children to bed, this happened. Watch. First, she heard strange sounds coming from down the hallway. When she went to trace the noise, she saw the white door slowly closing on its own. Not long after, scratching sounds began coming from the walls, and before she could even process that, her TV suddenly turned itself on, without anyone touching the remote. She's burned camphor, she's tried cleansing her space with Palo Santo, and she's done everything people recommended to keep the energy calm. But nothing seems to be changing. Now, for the sake of her children, leaving is starting to feel like the only option left. Yet, many viewers insist that since nothing harmful has happened, the spirit might simply be seeking attention or trying to communicate. But is it really worth waiting until something does happen? What exactly do you think she's dealing with? And is moving out the right call or a rash decision? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In the following clip, a woman who has been dealing with what she believes is a mimic decided to sage her home, and for a while everything went quiet. No strange voices, no footsteps, no movement in the corners, just silence. Until one night, this happened. Watch this.
So she's back. The last time I made this video, people were saying that it's my double reflection. But I'm just gonna put up my hand here. Yeah, the sage has worn off.
Aside from the mimic-like reflection in the window, viewers pointed out something even more disturbing. Another figure lurking in the darkness. When she realized this, it added an entirely new mystery to her situation. She also mentioned something most people found chilling. Whenever she turns around, nothing is there. She only ever sees the mimic through window reflections, never directly. Some think that means this thing is tied to reflective surfaces, almost like it can only reveal itself when she isn't looking at it head on. Others believe it's intentionally avoiding being seen, which could mean it's growing more aware or more dangerous. But the detail that caused the biggest debate? The fact that she saged the house. Many viewers believe that if she was dealing with a mimic, saging may have been a mistake. Not because sage is bad, but because some entities don't flee from cleansing. They get agitated by it. A few even suggested that sage might have pushed the mimic deeper into hiding, making it harder to track and possibly attracting something else in the process. But I'll leave that part to you. Was saging the house helpful, or did it make things worse? In this next clip, an explorer visits the former home of a woman named Rebecca, a place many locals believe is still haunted by her spirit. Have a look.
No. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Are you freaking kidding me? Okay. All right.
When you knock on a door and it opens by itself, especially in a house with a history like this, there are a few unsettling possibilities. Some believe that in the paranormal world, a door opening on its own can be a form of invitation, a spirit responding to your presence, acknowledging that it heard you. Others say it's a sign of residual activity, where the house is replaying something Rebecca used to do in life, almost like an echo of her routine. But the interpretation that creeped people out the most is the idea of intelligent interaction, meaning the spirit isn't just present, but aware. If the door opened right after he knocked, some think Rebecca might be answering the door the same way she would have when she was alive, only now she's doing it from the other side. So was this a simple coincidence, a residual replay, or Rebecca herself responding? You decide. Now, in this next video, a woman named Kyla, who has talked before about hearing strange things around her home, like faint footsteps on her porch at night, whispers outside her bedroom window, and soft knocks on her walls with no one there, experienced something even more unsettling. This time, she was outside, and her doorbell camera caught what appears to be a ghostly voice. Listen closely.
Inside, Kaylee, go! Kaylee, go! I'm not going. He's gonna grab his keys and you're gonna have to leave me.
What the fuck was that?
An unknown entity clearly says, "Hey, hey, hey." When a spirit communicates only through voice but never shows itself physically, many believe it could mean a few things. Some say it's the sign of a disembodied spirit, one that hasn't fully manifested but is still strong enough to interact with sound. Others think it could be a mimic trying to lure attention, using a friendly tone so the person lowers their guard. And in some cases, a voice without a form is said to be the start of a progression, where the activity slowly builds over time, eventually becoming louder, more frequent, and even more personal. If this is the beginning stage, what comes later could be anything from full apparitions to objects moving on their own, depending on the intention of whatever is trying to communicate with her. For now, all we know is, something spoke, and it wasn't human. Now, experiencing a mimic for the first time can be overwhelming in a way you can't quite prepare for. Hearing a voice that sounds exactly like you echoing through your own home, especially when you know you're completely alone, isn't just confusing, it hits you with a kind of fear that goes straight to your spine. It feels wrong on every level, like reality is glitching. That's exactly what happened to the man in this clip, and he still hasn't recovered from the shock. He also has no idea how to make sure it never happens again. Take a look.
Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. What I told you. Come here.
But here's the big question. What do you do when you hear your own voice in your house? Some people insist the first step is setting boundaries out loud, telling whatever is there that it is not allowed to mimic you. Others swear by protection practices like cleansing with smoke, salt barriers at doorways, or placing mirrors facing outward to bounce back unwanted energy. Then there's the other side of the debate. Some believe that confronting or acknowledging a mimic only makes it stronger, since mimics are known for feeding off attention and fear. Sadly, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, I don't know what you're doing. You can literally hear that. You can literally hear that. No. What the fuck? Oh my god. No.
According to some of his friends, the safest thing to do is to ignore it completely, act like you didn't hear a thing, and avoid giving it any emotional reaction. But a few insist that mimics are a sign of a deeper energy imbalance in the home, something that may require a medium, a cleansing ritual, or even relocating if the activity escalates, but like other videos, I'll let you be the judge of this one. Now in this next video, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his exploration through one of Nebraska's most haunted places, the Argo Hotel. This time, he decided it was finally time to check out room 1, the only room he hadn't stepped into yet. He sounded casual, even a little curious, but there was a slight hesitation in his voice, the kind that slips out when you're not entirely sure what you're about to walk into. At first glance, the room looks surprisingly normal, neat, quiet, almost welcoming. Definitely not what he expected from the creepiest room guests kept warning him about. But then, out of nowhere, this happened. Watch.
My voice. Could you? Whoa. No way. Oh god, oh god. That thing is freaking moving. I mean, it is windy outside, but still, that's like really moving. Is this your jewelry? It's very beautiful. Could you move it again? I'm just trying to think of any rational explanation. But I've got nothing. Like, I can't think of anything. Like I said, it is really windy outside. I can literally hear it whistling out there. But none of it's getting into here, so... I mean, I would be feeling that, like, especially if it's moving that much. Like, you would feel that gusto when you'd hear it. Whoever moved that necklace, could you tell me your name? I'm getting a little freaked out now. Something else just moved. And it's always got to be behind me. Why does it always have to be freaking behind me? It freaks me out. What the heck got moved? I'm not even sure. I smell something floral. It smells like perfume. I mean, it could be coming from this. I don't really smell it from there, though. It's like coming from somewhere else. Ma'am, is that your perfume I'm smelling? I'm not alone in this room. I am not alone. That came from over in here now. It sounded like the bed. The bed moving. Holy shit. Nope. I'm done. I'm done.
Room 1 is rumored to be haunted by the spirit of a woman. A presence guests claim loves to brush against people while they sleep, as if checking whether they're awake. Some even said they felt a hand on their arm or shoulder in the middle of the night. After Ian finally calmed his nerves and worked up the courage to go back inside, something else happened.
Literally had to reach from underneath here and pull this. That takes a lot of force. Was that you who just undid this bedding? If so, I'm gonna dare you to pull the blankets off the rest of the way. Could you do that for me? Oh no. Oh no. What the hell is that now? There's freaking water. Water running in there. What the hell is that? Is that the freaking bathtub? What the hell? Oh my god. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Alright, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with this room. I'm ready to be out.
And that moment was enough for him. No more theories, no more doubt. To Ian, this was absolute proof that the Argo Hotel is haunted. For more haunting videos, including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured by a Ring camera inside a home. At the time, the homeowners were simply feeding their cat and didn't notice anything strange while it was happening. It wasn't until later, when they reviewed the footage, that they realized something else had been there with them the entire time. Watch closely.
Ready?
At first glance, many people were quick to say it was just a reflection, but before you settle on that explanation, here's what the garage looks like during the day. There's no window there, and no reflective surface that would explain it. The empty space you see is exactly where the car was parked in the original video, and the red circle marks the exact spot where the unidentified figure appeared. Some viewers believe it might be a residual presence, briefly replaying an energy tied to the house rather than actively interacting with the environment. A few people pointed out the cat's behavior as well, and of course, skeptics argue it could still be a lighting anomaly or camera glitch, even without a visible source. The homeowners say they've never experienced anything like this before, but now that they've seen it, they can't stop wondering, was this a one-time glitch caught at the perfect moment, or something that's been there all along only now revealing itself? What do you think? Now, in this next video, a woman named Jennifer owns a beautiful historic home that dates all the way back to 1907, filled with antique pieces that go as far back as 1903. But not long after moving in, Jennifer began experiencing things she couldn't explain, and things that steadily became harder to ignore. Soft footsteps when no one else was home, faint whispering that seemed to come from empty rooms, objects shifting ever so slightly when she wasn't looking, and shadows, not quick tricks of the light, but lingering shapes that felt intentional. Concerned, she eventually reached out to several mediums, all of whom told her the same thing. They sensed children in the house. One evening, when the noises became louder and more persistent, Jennifer decided to pull out her phone and start recording, hoping to finally figure out what was causing it. Take a look.
Okay, I'm upstairs and the cracking was just me standing here. However, did you hear the sound after that? Because I'm a little freaked out. Because of course I'm home alone. And I'm scared. I'm gonna sit here and listen. See what I get. I just saw an orb. I saw an orb in the dining room across where the mediums have seen the children. And per usual, here's my sidekick making sure I'm okay. The innkeeper. Magnolia. I feel like I'm hearing like a faint music being played. And do you see that? Maybe it's just the shining from the lights. Just seems like something's in there right now. I'll walk down and see. Oh my God, what was that? Okay, I'm going over here. That was a big noise. That could not have been from the cat. She's still sitting there. Look at the mist around her right now, and she's looking. Oh boy.
What makes this even more unsettling is what Jennifer later discovered. After speaking with a local historian, she learned that when the house was built, there were no nearby hospitals, and it's believed that at least 4 people died inside the home. Deaths that likely occurred under stressful, emotional circumstances, the kind many believe can leave a lasting imprint on a place. Whether this footage captured lingering memories, restless spirits, or something far more aware, one thing is clear. Jennifer's home isn't just holding antiques from the past. It may be holding on to the past itself. The following video comes from another haunted home. This one owned by a woman named Lauren, who says the activity inside her house has been escalating for quite some time. Before this night, Lauren had already shared multiple unsettling incidents. She's discovered footprints appearing in the house that don't match the size or shape of anyone who lives there. She's seen figures moving at the edge of her vision, heard voices when she was completely alone, and watched objects shift or move without being touched. Each event on its own might be easy to brush off, but together they paint a much darker picture. One night, just as Lauren was about to go to bed, she began hearing whispering, so she reached for her phone and started recording. Listen closely.
What's that? What's that? Yeah, what was that, Teddy? Yeah, let's go down. Okay. Oh, no way.
Lauren was making a video to record the voice she heard. Instead, her camera caught a figure. Some viewers believe this could be intelligent haunting, where whatever is present is aware of Lauren and actively trying to make itself known. Others suggest the entity may be tied to the house itself, revealing itself more clearly as Lauren becomes more aware of its presence. But until Lauren shares more updates or captures clearer evidence, this case remains unresolved. Now, in this next video, a man captures something that's far from ordinary, and what happens afterward is even more unsettling. Watch closely.
Leave. Stop. You gotta go. Shh, 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 shh. Calm down. What are you? Stop. Charlie, come on. I don't even know how to explain what I'm seeing. Holy hell. No, this is crazy. Did you hear this last night? Yeah. It was going last night. Now, did you... Charlie, come here. I guarantee it's going to keep on. It'll do it again. So I don't know if you're going to see what I'm seeing, but this is on repeat. This happens over and over, and then the knocking happens. The knocking, there it is, and it just goes and goes until you tell it to stop. Can you stop, please? I mean, it's just right there. That's new. Okay. Whatever you are, you gotta go. And that's... Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Goodbye. Yes? Hello? What is that? Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you. Leave my lights alone.
In the footage, you can clearly see hands pressed flat against the glass, and then they simply vanish. But what made this situation truly disturbing wasn't just the clip itself, it was what the man shared afterward. He says he began experiencing that overwhelming sensation many people describe, the feeling that someone is standing just behind you, close enough to feel, but never close enough to see. He'd wake up in the morning to find his closet door wide open, even though he knew it had been shut before going to bed. And worse, the same set of handprints he saw on the glass outside now appeared on his mirror, pressed deep, as if someone had been standing inside the room, watching him while he slept. He keeps seeing a figure dressed in black, always briefly, always just out of reach, never long enough to fully make out its face. So what do you think he's dealing with? And if those hands weren't human, whose were they? This one remains deeply unsettling. In this next video, a couple experiences something strange inside their home, and this time their security camera captured it. Have a look.
Really, someone told the boss that we've got a new car, and he's pulled up next to me, and he's come into the office, and he is flustered. He's gone like, he's spraying everything, right? No.
Thanks, Dave. Love you too. Anyway, you were saying?
No, we don't. That's not how this works. No, I don't want to carry on with this story anymore.
He's like, yes, it is.
No, see you later.
In the footage, one of the kitchen drawers slides open on its own, even though no one is standing anywhere near it. What immediately stood out to viewers wasn't just the movement, it was the woman's reaction. According to her, this isn't even close to the worst thing she's seen in that house. She later explained that drawers opening on their own has become almost normal. There have been nights when she's heard footsteps pacing through the hallway, even though everyone in the house was already in bed. Sometimes she hears what sounds like someone quietly moving things around in the kitchen, only to walk in and find everything exactly where it should be, except for one item that's clearly been disturbed. According to her, whatever's in the house doesn't feel aggressive. If anything, she believes it might be a spirit looking for attention without actually causing harm. That belief is the only reason she doesn't think much about moments like this anymore, but others aren't so convinced. So the question is this really just a harmless ghost trying to be noticed? You decide. The following video is an update from Nate, the same man who's been documenting something repeatedly peeking out from his basement, along with a voice that's almost always whispering in his recordings. One night, Nate noticed his dog acting strangely. The dog began pacing, whining, and repeatedly looking toward the kitchen, clearly trying to alert him that something wasn't right. Nate brushed it off at first, until the dog suddenly ran out of the kitchen and went straight to the couch, where it froze, staring toward the kitchen, refusing to move. Watch closely.
Watching over at that spot. What'd you see? What is it? Tell Daddy. What'd you see? Where is it? Guys, always trust your guts. She got to like right here. Nothing in here. She is like following something. I don't know what she's following. Alright, I'm not sure what that was. No fucking way. No fucking way. I do not want you here. You are not allowed here.
Animals don't second guess what they sense, and dogs especially don't react like this without a reason. What happens next is what truly changes the tone of this entire situation. Up until now, whatever Nate has been dealing with mostly stayed subtle, whispering voices, peeking movements, objects shifting slightly. Because of that, many people believed it was a woman's spirit, especially given the soft whispering heard in earlier clips. Some thought she was trapped, confused, maybe even trying to ask for help or find peace. But this time, it crossed a line. A knife was thrown, and that single moment made people rethink everything. A spirit trying to communicate doesn't usually escalate to weapons, so is this still the spirit of a woman trying to pass on, or was that narrative wrong from the beginning? I'll leave you to be the judge. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian returns to what many locals consider the most haunted house in Minnesota, the infamous Boyd House. This is a place already known for some truly disturbing claims, dolls that seem to move on their own, unexplained footsteps, and the sound of children giggling when no one else is there. But this time, as Ian enters the house, it's unusually quiet. No noises, no movement, but the silence didn't last long. Watch closely.
Holy dude, something just came towards me. What the heck was that? Hello? Oh my gosh. Who's there? I just heard like footsteps, like heavy footsteps coming like right towards me just now, coming from the parlor here. And what's even weirder is I felt like a cold breeze like rushing towards me. I don't know if you could somehow hear it or something.
That single moment was enough to convince Ian that whatever had been dormant inside the Boyd house was no longer resting. The Boyd house was built back in 1901 and served as the longtime home of Freddie Hart, his wife Minnie, and 11 children. Now Ian needed to know who was with him.
Minnie, is that you? Are you in the kitchen right now? Those are just my creaky footsteps. Minnie, if you were up here, could you? Whoa, 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 whoa! Dude, what the heck? That light just turned on! It just turned on by itself! Oh my gosh. Dude, she is in there.
Just like previous tenants have described, cabinets began opening, and moments later, a light turned on by itself. At that point, Ian felt confident this wasn't random. The behavior matched the reports almost perfectly. If the stories are true, Minnie's spirit doesn't hide. She rearranges, interacts, and makes her presence known. For more haunting videos, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by a group of explorers who decided to enter an abandoned building surrounded by disturbing rumors. Locals claim that people go in and come out completely shaken, some reporting sudden dizziness, intense pressure in their chest, difficulty breathing, and an overwhelming feeling that they weren't welcome there. Others say electronics malfunction, footsteps echo through empty hallways, and objects seem to move on their own. The explorers went in hoping to communicate with whatever might be causing these experiences, but instead of answers, they encountered something that seemed to confirm every story they'd heard. Watch this.
Görüntü gidiyor, var bir şey. Var bir şey var. Görüntü gidiyor. Tamam, böyle dikkat. Biliyorum bir şey var orada. Kafamıza gelecekti Allah aşkına. Dokundu.
At one point, an axe suddenly fell, narrowly missing them. They were incredibly lucky it didn't land on anyone. Incidents like this raise unsettling questions about the kind of presence that could exist in places like this. Some theories suggest these spirits lash out when they feel threatened, disturbed, or when their space is invaded, especially in places tied to trauma, violence, or abandonment. Whatever was inside that building didn't seem interested in communicating. It seemed angry, and that makes this encounter far more dangerous than a typical paranormal investigation. Now, in this next clip, a family has been hearing strange noises coming from their basement. At first, they didn't think much of it since the sounds were faint, irregular, and easy to dismiss, the kind of thing you blame on the house settling or your imagination filling in the gaps. But over the next few weeks, everything changed. The noises started happening more often, they grew louder, and eventually impossible to ignore. Then, one night, while the family was asleep, a sudden, heavy noise from the basement jolted them awake. Instead of staying put, the husband decided to move closer to investigate, and that decision alone sent chills through viewers. Watch closely.
Hello? Oh my god!
After the footage surfaced, opinions were split. Some viewers insist it has to be an animal, something trapped or moving around below. But others aren't convinced. They point out that the footsteps sound human. So if it isn't an animal and it isn't just the house settling, then whatever made that noise was already inside the home, waiting in the darkest part of it. But I'll leave you to be the judge of this one. On the 14th of February, 2014, a man walks into a shop like any other day. Nothing about the moment seems unusual, but what no one inside the store realizes is that something else was inside the shop. Watch closely.
Look right here. Look right here. Right here. Look. Look, watch. What is that? What is that? And it's just gone, bruh. Look at this. It's there, and now it's not. It's there, and now it's not, bruh. What is that? Bruh. What is that? What is that? And then it's just gone.
The strange figure appears and disappears in a blink, so fast that the man didn't even sense that something was there. If it wasn't for the security camera, this moment would have passed unnoticed forever. Incidents like this raise an unsettling thought. How many things move through our world without us ever knowing? How many figures slip in and out of reality just beyond our perception? Too quick, too subtle, or too unexpected for the human mind to register? And even when footage like this does surface, many people still refuse to believe it. Some call it a glitch, others say it's a shadow, a reflection, or a trick of the camera. So what do you think? Was this an anomaly or a rare glimpse into something that's always around us, quietly passing through, unseen? In this next video, a woman captured a terrifying figure inside her own home. According to her, it's late at night, and she's replaying voice messages on her phone when an overwhelming feeling hits her, the unmistakable sense that someone is staring at her, not just a thought, not imagination, that deep instinctive awareness you get when eyes are fixed on you. Trusting that feeling, she lifts her phone toward the doorway. This is what she captures. A dark figure appears, peeking from behind the door, its shape just clear enough to suggest a face watching her. What makes this even more unsettling is that this wasn't the first warning sign. Before this moment, she says she'd been experiencing subtle things around the house, doors left slightly open when she was sure she closed them, the sound of quiet movement at night, and that recurring sensation of being watched when no one else was home. Small things she brushed off at first. Until this. Many people say humans are wired to sense when they're being observed, even without seeing it. And moments like this make you wonder how often that instinct is right. Until she shares more updates, whatever was standing in that doorway and why it was watching her remains completely unsolved. Now, in this next clip, a couple shares footage from what was supposed to be a simple cave exploration somewhere in the UK. Nothing paranormal, no ghost hunting, just curiosity and a camera rolling. But like many explorers later admit, the strangest moments aren't always noticed in real time. They're discovered after, while reviewing the footage. Watch and listen closely.
I don't blame them. Imagine how many people you could fit in here.
Because you go in here, look.
How am I going to fit through there? What? Seen all the spiders?
Yeah, have you seen them?
During the exploration, his partner becomes overwhelmed by spiders and quickly exits the cave, clearly shaken. He laughs it off at first, still filming, thinking the danger is gone, but seconds later, his mood changes. He suddenly freezes, then jumps back, reacting to the feeling that something is moving toward him from deeper inside the cave. At the time, he didn't hear anything clearly. It's only after rewatching the footage that they notice the sound at the very end of the video. Some viewers suggest it could have been an animal, even comparing it to a bear-like snarl, possibly disturbed by their presence. But others point out that caves are isolated, ancient, largely untouched, and act as natural amplifiers for phenomena we don't fully understand. In this next video, a family is together, laughing, catching up, and enjoying a quiet moment until something happens. Watch closely. Out of nowhere, the table shifts and the reaction is instant. Everyone runs. Some viewers believe this could be a prank, suggesting someone nearby might have been under the table or pulled the table. But according to locals, this area already has a reputation. Families in the vicinity have complained for years about objects moving on their own, furniture shifting slightly when no one is touching it, and sudden disturbances that happen without warning. That's what makes this moment harder to brush off. When objects move in shared spaces like this, especially during calm moments, many believe it's often the first sign something is trying to make itself known. Whether this was human interference or something far more unsettling, one thing is clear. The moment whatever happened made itself known, no one wanted to stay around long enough to find out what caused it. So what do you think happened here? Speaking of objects moving, the family in this next clip has been struggling with something they can't seem to explain. They'll leave items in one place, chairs pushed under the table, doors fully shut, small objects carefully set down, only to come back later and find everything shifted, rearranged, or completely out of place. At first, they brushed it off as forgetfulness, thinking maybe someone else moved it, or they just remembered wrong, but the patterns kept repeating. Eventually, they decided to document everything. What you're about to see is a compilation of the activity they managed to catch on camera. Watch closely.
¡Bruno! ¡Bruno! Se movió la silla.
¿Leal?
Sí.
Leal, corre.
Tipo, es de arquitecta.
Leal, corre.
¡Te voy!
To some viewers, this points to something trying to interact with the physical space, poltergeist-like behavior that focuses more on movement than appearances. Others believe it could be something residual, replaying energy over and over in the same areas of the house. They've been advised to send the footage to a priest, but until that happens, speculation continues. But what do you think? Is something attached to the house, or something dangerous followed them home? I'd love to know what you think about this kind of activity. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his investigation inside the historic Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater. This time, he heads back up to the top floor, returning to the main theater area to quietly film and listen for anything out of place. Watch closely.
It's like there's somebody up there. What the hell was that? Oh, shh, 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 shh. Oh my god, guys, it literally sounds like she's coming down these stairs. I smell perfume. What the heck? I smell perfume. And it's starting to feel colder in here too. Ma'am, you don't have to be shy. Feel free to come down and talk to me. Madam, what's your name? Oh my god! I heard that! That was a lady's voice! Thank you, ma'am. I heard you loud and clear.
As Ian stands alone in the creepy space, he suddenly notices a strong perfume smell beginning to fill the air. What's unsettling is that the scent doesn't fade. It grows stronger, almost as if someone is moving closer to him. Paranormal investigators often associate sudden smells, especially perfume, with spirit presence, particularly when there's no logical source nearby. Moments later, this happened.
Here. Hello? Oh, holy shit! Oh my god! Dude! I just fucking saw her right there! It looked like a woman in a dress. She walked into the hallway. I gotta follow her. She went down this way. Oh my god. Every hair on my body is standing on end. Where'd you go? I saw you go this way. I feel like I heard her say Mabel. It sounded like an M. Now that I think about it, that voice from earlier, it sounded like Mabel. I'm smelling that perfume smell again. Holy shit! Holy shit! No freaking way! Look at that! That thing just came undone!
This is where things take an even stranger turn. Ian believes he may have caught sight of a figure, possibly the infamous woman in white, briefly peeking out from behind the curtain. The combination of the intensifying perfume and the movement near the stage is enough to raise serious questions about what or who might still be lingering inside the theater. So what do you think? Lingering energy, a known spirit, or something else entirely? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded by Sarah, a woman who spends her time traveling from place to place, exploring abandoned and reportedly haunted buildings. She doesn't just walk in for thrills, she researches the history, digs into old records, and documents everything carefully. According to Sarah, her goal has always been simple: to find out whether ghosts are actually real. For a long time, she believed they weren't. Even though she's captured strange things during past investigations, she's always managed to explain them away. Drafts, old structures, animals, faulty equipment. Every time something unsettling happened, logic won. Until now. Weeks after her most recent investigation, things started happening in her own home. Growling sounds that don't belong to any animal she owns, loud bangs that echo through the house with no clear source, and then the footsteps. Heavy, deliberate sounds coming from her loft, like someone pacing back and forth. Almost every night around 1 a.m., Sarah wakes up suddenly, not from an alarm or from a dream, but from the same unmistakable sound. Watch.
I think someone's in the loft. I don't know if you're going to hear this on camera. It is currently 1:21 a.m. This has been going off for a while. This has woke me up. I really hope you can hear this. I really hope you can hear this. I've had to put a little torch on because it's absolutely pitch black. Please tell me that you can hear this. I've come out, but am I fuck going up there? Absolutely not. There's like a hatch. And nah. What the?
Those are human footsteps and definitely not a rat or any small animal. But it's not just the loft. Take a look.
I've also had presents over Christmas. The same pile of presents, ironically, keep flinging themselves over. And then in my office, I've got like greenery here. These keep moving as if someone's playing with them. The presents I actually had piled up here and they flung over. I will insert a video right now. I don't know if I can catch this on camera, but these have like been making a noise. As if they're, oh my Jesus Christ. By the way, that actually happened twice in this office, so I made a point of moving the presents from the office into the bedroom. It happened again in the bedroom, so the next night what I did was I unstacked the presents, laid them all down in a row in the bedroom, and I woke up in the middle of the night to what sounded like somebody opening the presents. I could physically hear somebody playing with the wrapping paper. I've also been waking up in the middle of the night to noises and also growls, like a full-blown growl. And I was sending a voice note to somebody and they heard the growl on the voice note. I also have a second phone, so I'm going to leave this lying around different places, recording different areas. And I spend a lot of time in this room working, so my plan is to set up that second phone and have it continuously recording. So if something does happen or the greenery starts to move behind me or something falls off a shelf, I'm going to catch it. The question is, do you guys want me to start vlogging this daily? I'm actually quite happy just recording for my own personal sake, but if you guys want to see it, I am also happy, very happy to vlog it and post it.
At this point, Sarah decides to stop dismissing what's happening and starts recording everything, documenting each incident as carefully as she once documented abandoned buildings. And that raises an uncomfortable possibility, one many paranormal investigators fear but rarely talk about. Sometimes it isn't about finding proof of ghosts, sometimes something finds you. Until Sarah shares more updates, what exactly is happening inside her house remains unsolved. But the idea that something may have followed her home from her last investigation is becoming harder and harder to ignore. Now, this next clip was recorded in one of the houses we've featured on this channel before. In the video, a father is playing with his young daughter inside their home when the blinds suddenly move, as if someone outside is trying to peek in. At first glance, some assumed it could be a prank or someone nearby, but the father later explained something that completely changed the situation. The blinds were touched from a height that would require someone to be at least 9 feet tall. Also, there's no balcony, no platform, no stairs, and nothing outside the house that would allow a person to reach that high. Concerned, the family didn't ignore it. The father asked his grandmother to come over and bless the room, hoping whatever it was would stop. But instead of ending, the activity moved inside the house. They began hearing unexplained bangs, objects would shift, and most alarming, their daughter started refusing to enter certain areas of the house, insisting she didn't feel safe there. Then, just after Christmas, while the mother was cleaning and putting things back in place, it happened again. Look closely at the windows. The window opens, slowly, the same way the blinds moved before, like something on the other side is trying to look in. And knowing the layout of the house, no one could reasonably say a person was outside. Now, concerns have turned into fear, because whatever this is doesn't seem affected by blessings either. The family is now searching for alternatives, unsure of what steps to take next, and worried about how much worse things could get. So, what do you think they should do? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In the following video, a guy shares what's been happening inside his house, and it all starts off in a way that feels almost harmless. On the very first day, he hears knocking coming from one of the walls and brushes it off as the house settling, maybe pipes shifting or the temperature changing. Nothing alarming enough to worry about. The second day, the sounds return, but this time it's scratching. Again, he tries to rationalize it, telling himself it could be mice in the walls or something crawling through the insulation. Still unsettling, but explainable, at least to him. But by the third day, whatever was happening stopped pretending to be subtle. Watch this.
Llegó la tercera noche que no sé si escuchan ese ruido, pero estoy solo, ¿me entiendes? Estoy solo en la pieza y estoy solo en mi casa. O sea, no, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, boludo, se acaba de mover. ¿Qué? No, miren, para que vean que abajo no hay nadie, boludo. Posta. O sea, no estoy jodiendo ni nada. O sea, te juro que no hay nadie, estoy yo solo acá.
People in the comments start pointing out something strange in the room. The empty chair. Many believe that placing an empty chair in a room can unintentionally act like an invitation, especially when it's positioned as if someone could sit there, and facing it toward a mirror only deepens the concern. In paranormal lore, mirrors are often believed to be gateways or amplifiers, reflecting more than just what we can see. Others mention how activity often escalates like this: subtle signs first, then louder, more deliberate disturbances once whatever is present realizes it's being ignored. And what happens next seems to support that theory. Take a look.
No sé qué pasa, boludo. Estoy en mi pieza queriendo dormir, boludo, y me tocan la puerta toda la noche, amigo. Son como las 1 de la mañana. No hay nada. No, amigo, ¿qué mierda es eso, boludo? ¿Qué mierda sos, la concha de tu madre? Boludo, no. Amigo, no hay nadie, boludo. No. De hoy se está escuchando esa mierda. ¿Qué? No, boludo, no. No. Encima abro acá la ventana, boludo. No hay nadie, amigo. O sea, no hay chance que haya salido alguien por acá, boludo. No, amigo, no. No, amigo, de nuevo esto. Pero qué mierda, boludo. No va a enloquecer, boludo.
At this point, the knocking and scratching feel intentional, almost responsive. Now that it's reached this stage, many are asking the same question: what can actually be done when something no longer feels passive? And do you think he ignored the early signs for too long, or was this inevitable from the moment it started knocking? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In this next video, a man is lying in bed, relaxed and scrolling on his phone, when he suddenly hears something shift nearby. At first, he assumes it's a rat or maybe something falling over, so he instinctively turns on his camera, expecting to catch an animal darting across the floor. But that's not what happens. Watch closely.
Loco, estaba durmiendo, me acaba de levantar, loco, estoy cagado de las patas. Fuera de joda me puse una alabanza, amigo. Estaba durmiendo y de ahí arriba... Mirá, boludo. No lo puedo creer. Necesito, boludo.
The object doesn't just slide or tip over, it moves in a controlled way. Another thing is, from the angle and the motion, you'd expect the bag to fall completely, but it doesn't. It's almost as if something stops it mid-movement, like an unseen hand holding it in place. That moment alone was enough to unsettle him. After posting the clip, the man explains that this wasn't an isolated incident. Watch this.
Loco, mira, 2:35 de la mañana, amigo. De vuelta a este puto ropero, este pibe se me durmió, la concha, la lora. No puedo creer, loco, no puedo, te juro que no puedo dormir, mirá, loco, mirá. No te digo yo, no sea malo, loco.
For days leading up to this, strange things had been happening around his home. His door has unlocked itself multiple times, the handle slowly turning as if someone on the other side was trying to come in. He's seen shadows that don't form full bodies, just faces lingering for a split second before disappearing. And at night, the sounds make it impossible for him to sleep, like something is always moving just out of view. Some believe this could be a case of something feeding off fear, gradually escalating its presence once it knows it's being noticed. Others suggest it may be a lingering presence tied to the house itself, only becoming active at night when everything is quiet. Whether it's psychological, environmental, or something far more disturbing, one thing is clear: whatever caused this isn't stopping, and until more updates are given, this remains a mystery. Now, in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian continues his solo investigation at the infamous Squirrel Cage Jail, officially known as the Pottawatomie County Jail in Iowa. This isn't just any abandoned jail. Built back in 1885, the structure is infamous for its rotating cage design, a mechanism that once trapped inmates inside when it jammed, leaving them locked in place for hours. sometimes days. Over the years, countless inmates suffered here, and many never left the building alive. This time, Ian heads into the old picnic area, a place inmates were once allowed brief moments of fresh air, moments that, for some, ended in tragedy. Setting up a spirit box session, Ian attempts to communicate, carefully asking questions into the silence, not fully knowing what kind of response he might provoke. Watch closely.
Whoa. That sounds like a man's voice coming through there. Could you speak again? Whoa. It's hard to make out what's being said, but I'm definitely hearing someone talking. How many spirits haunt this jail? Whoa. That sounded like you said 11. That is a lot of different spirits, if that's true. What did that say? That sounded like broken neck. Who am I speaking to? Joseph. Oh my God. It just said Joseph. No freaking way. He's the one that fell. He fell from the 3rd floor of the squirrel cage. Joseph, is that you? What were you thinking climbing that cell? Whoa. What was that? The sound came from up there. Hello? Inmate, if that's you, reach out of your cell. Oh, God. Holy crap.
What comes through immediately sends chills down his spine. Ian becomes convinced the voice responding belongs to Joseph, the inmate who reportedly fell from the 3rd floor of the squirrel cage, dying instantly on impact. What makes this even more unsettling is that the exact location where Joseph fell is completely sealed off now, inaccessible and untouched. There's no way for Ian to physically investigate the area, yet whatever answered him seems to know exactly who he is and where he's standing. Instead of leaving, Ian stays put, deciding to push further and confirm his theory. He asks direct questions, listening carefully for patterns, names, or confirmation.
Why don't you make some more noise? Oh, that came from in here. Hello? That came from in this cell. I'm hearing noises everywhere. Was it you? Of course it wasn't. There's nobody in here. This jail is really starting to amp up right now.
The responses only deepen the mystery. Whether it's Joseph reaching out, residual energy replaying a tragic moment, or something far darker using the story as a mask, Ian is no longer alone in that space, and the longer he stays, the more it feels like the jail is becoming aware of him being there. Places like the Squirrel Cage Jail aren't just abandoned buildings. They're pressure chambers of human suffering, fear, and loss. And when someone listens long enough, sometimes something listens back. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. In the following clip, a family's home security camera captures something they never expected involving their young son, who is autistic and extremely sensitive to changes in his environment. His parents explain that he's very routine-oriented and easily distressed by anything being out of place, especially at night. One night, while the entire household was asleep, they suddenly heard their son screaming in terror. Watch. Imagine waking up around 1 a.m. to your autistic son crying, insisting that the elf on the shelf had moved on its own. For those unfamiliar, Elf on the Shelf is a popular holiday tradition where parents move a small elf figurine around the house each night to make it appear as though it's watching children's behavior for Santa. The rule is simple: the elf only moves when no one is watching. But in this case, no one was touching it when it moved. What makes this more unsettling is that the child was genuinely terrified, not confused or playful. Some viewers believe the stress of the tradition itself can cause children, especially those with sensory sensitivities, to panic when something appears different. Others point out that Elf on the Shelf has long been tied to darker folklore: small watching figures, silent observers, and objects believed to invite unwanted attention into a home. A few even argue that objects meant to watch children, even symbolically, can create fear-based expectations that manifest in disturbing ways. Whether this was a misunderstanding, a moment of heightened fear, or something far more unsettling, one thing is certain: the family hasn't been able to look at that elf the same way since. But what do you think happened here? Now, this next clip is an update from a previous video about a family who went to check out an apartment they were considering renting. At first, everything seemed normal, until just minutes after stepping inside, an unidentified voice was suddenly heard whispering the word Jadis. At the time, many viewers believed it could have been interference, audio distortion, or even someone outside the apartment. But something about the voice didn't sit right. After that video gained attention, the woman went back through the footage she recorded inside the apartment, and that's when she noticed something else she completely missed before. Watch closely.
Oh my god.
Just like the previous video, another voice can be heard. This time, some people swear they hear it saying, "Don't buy," almost like a warning. Others hear what sounds like a young boy softly saying, "Hello, Mum," while a different group of viewers are convinced the voice is saying, "Grandpa." What makes this unsettling is how common whispers are in reports tied to supposedly empty homes. Paranormal researchers often say whispered voices are one of the earliest signs of a presence, especially in places with emotional residue, homes where someone may have lived, passed away, or never fully moved on. Unlike loud noises, whispers are believed to be intentional, subtle, and directed, meant to be heard by specific people rather than caught accidentally. The first clip left many viewers deeply concerned, questioning whether the family went through with renting the apartment. But later, she confirmed that they didn't. And judging by what was captured on camera, many believe that decision may have spared them from something far more unsettling, whether the voices were warning them away or trying to make contact. This apartment clearly isn't as empty as it appears. In this next video, a woman who's been experiencing strange activity in her home finally manages to capture something on camera. For a while now, she's claimed to see dark figures appearing briefly in different parts of the house, always just out of full view, always gone the moment she looks directly at them. One evening, while she was home alone, she stepped out of her bathroom and noticed something unusual. Watch closely.
I hear a woman humming. What the hell? Where's that coming from? Look, Xavier hears it too. Hold on. You heard it too, huh?
As she walks out of the bathroom, she catches sight of something black moving. At first, she assumes it's just a shadow or her eyes adjusting to the lighting, but when she turns her head, the shape is still there, a dark, human-like figure peeping before vanishing moments later. Many viewers believe this could be what's commonly referred to as a shadow figure, entities often described as pitch-black silhouettes that appear briefly and disappear without a trace. Others think it could be tied to stress, fatigue, or the brain misinterpreting familiar spaces, especially when someone is alone and alert. But some point out that seeing a figure clearly enough to turn and face it suggests something more than imagination. Whether this was a shadow entity, residual energy, or something her mind can't explain yet, one thing is certain: whatever she saw felt real enough to leave her shaken. But Stego, you think she's dealing with? Now, in this next clip, a family is dealing with the terrifying consequences of opening their door to something knocking in the middle of the night. At first, they thought it was just a mistake, maybe a neighbor, maybe kids playing a prank, but ever since that moment, their nights have been anything but normal. Sleep has become nearly impossible. Objects shift around the house on their own, voices are heard when no one else is awake, and the knocking never truly stops. It only moves, echoing from different parts of the home. Watch this.
Voy a ir a ver, güey.
Sí, sí, ve.
Ya estoy grabando, ¿eh?
Sí, ya. Con cuidado, el palo, el tubo, ¿dónde está?
Oh, mames, pero está tocando bien de güey. Aquí está, aquí está, aquí. A la máquina, güey. Márcala a la policía, güey. Sí. A la madre. A su verga, güey. A la... ¡Hey! ¡Hey!
Ábreme, hijo de tu puta madre.
¿Qué quieres?
Ábreme, hijo de tu pinche madre.
¿Quién eres?
Soy el que andas buscando. Lo que me querías ver. Aquí estoy. Ábreme.
La sangre de Cristo tiene poder.
Ábreme, hijo de tu pinche madre.
¿Qué eres?
Soy el que tú quieres ver, cabrón. Ábreme, hijo de tu pinche madre.
¿Por qué estás molestando aquí? Aquí no hay nada. Y ahí le llamé a la patrulla, ¿eh?
Ábreme, hijo de tu pinche madre. Querías verme, pues aquí estoy.
Pues entra a ver.
Ya estoy adentro de tu casa. Ábreme, hijo de tu pinche madre.
Lárgate a chingar a tu madre de aquí. Ya le hablé a la patrulla, ¿eh?
Ábreme, hijo de tu pinche madre. Ya estoy ahí adentro de tu casa.
Ya viene la patrulla, nada más te aviso, ¿eh? Lárgate de aquí. Lárgate. Ya le hablaste a la patrulla.
What makes this moment especially unsettling is that whatever is inside the house doesn't just knock anymore. This time, it responds. Paranormal researchers often warn that responding to unknown knocking or voices at night is one of the worst things you can do. Many believe it's an invitation, an acknowledgement that gives whatever is outside permission to cross a boundary. In this case, it seems whatever entered that night may be growing stronger, or worse, drawing in other presences. Some believe one spirit can act like a doorway, inviting others to follow. And judging by how the activity has escalated, this family may no longer be dealing with just one thing. But until we receive more updates from the family, this remains unsolved. The following clip was recorded by a team of paranormal investigators who entered a house already known for intense activity. From the moment they stepped inside, they said the atmosphere felt heavy, almost oppressive, like they were being watched. In a previous video we shared about this same location, their first instinct was to pray, something many believe can provoke or expose darker entities rather than calm them, and in that case, the prayers seemed to force whatever was in the house to make itself known, This time, their attention was drawn to a creepy doll sitting quietly inside the home. Instead of avoiding it, they decided to use it as part of an experiment. Watch closely.
Oricare spirit te află aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare suflet neliniștit, oricare strigoi, prin puterea primordială prin care am fost investit, îți ordon să miști pina aia. Marș de aici! Bă, ca mea! Râmea aia, băi, frate! Marș de aici, că nu cred așa ceva. Holy Jesus Christ! Îți ordon să miști pina aia. Marș de aici! Bă, ca mea! Vă arăt pina asta? Că nu-i legată cu nimic? Hă? Of, Doamne! Vă arăt pina asta? Hă? Uite cum a luat încoace, iau răstoarnă, învârte-o peste tot. Uite Dumnezeu, uite picioare. Vă arăt pina asta care nu-i legată cu nimic? Uite picioare în ea, măi. Hă? Dacă răbușa nu e abonată de asta. Dar oricum poate să filmezi, stai seama. Vă arăt, mă, puterea asta primordială?
There was nothing attached to the doll. No strings, no tricks, no hidden mechanism. The doll moved on its own. Some viewers argue the movement could be explained by balance or vibrations, but one of the investigators wasn't convinced that this alone was enough proof. So they decided to test something else nearby, choosing a completely different object to rule out coincidence. Take a look.
Oricare spirit te afla, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare strigoi, prin puterea primordială prin care am fost investit de către patriarh, îți ordon să miști.
Mirela.
Mișcă poza aia sau dă-o jos, fă ceva. Marș de aici! Aoleu! Uitați pozele, uitați poșetele, uitați poza că nu e legată cu nimic. Da? Uitați. Uitați pozele, uitați. Da? Da, Doamne.
After the second attempt, it became much harder to dismiss what was happening. Two separate objects responding under similar conditions suggested this wasn't just about the doll itself. Still, wanting absolute confirmation, they pushed further and attempted one final test. This time, they focused on something much larger.
Prin puterea prin care am fost investit, să rup perdeaua aia. Trage-o cât are. Băi, Alin, băi.
The curtains suddenly moved with force. Many believe this escalation is significant, and some say it shows the presence growing more aggressive the more it's challenged, while others warn that repeated provocation can turn a passive entity into a dangerous one. According to paranormal belief, spirits that respond with increasing force aren't simply playful, they're territorial, reactive, and possibly hostile. Whether this was a buildup of energy, a violent entity asserting control, or something darker reacting to being tested, one thing is clear. Whatever was inside that house didn't like being questioned. Now, in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian investigates the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater, and this time he heads down into the basement. At first, everything feels calm, just old artifacts, storage rooms, and the quiet hum you'd expect from a historic building. But that calm doesn't last long. Watch and listen closely.
Creepy old fireplace. Oh my god, those sounded like voices. Hello? That legit sounded like people talking. Who's talking? Okay, there's definitely someone in there. It sounds like people talking in here. Hello? Who's in there? Talk to me. What's your name? Oh my gosh. Is there someone in here? There's literally nobody in here. And yet it sounded like there were. Oh. What's that smell?
The voices sound distant, almost conversational, as if someone is speaking just out of sight. Ian pauses, trying to pinpoint where it's coming from, when something else happens that confirms his suspicion that he isn't alone.
Alright, I know somebody's down here with me. Could you give me a sign of your presence? That door just opened! Oh my god! What just happened? Look at that. What? Are you serious? How do you explain that? That drawer just went boom. It just opened by itself. Thank you for opening the drawer. Could you shut it? That cigar smell is a lot stronger over here. It literally feels like there's 4 different spirits here sitting in each one of these chairs. And one of them just opened that. I can't thank you enough for opening that drawer. Thank you so much, because that was phenomenal. You got my heart rate going up. No way. It just moved again. Did you see that? Oh my god. I have no explanation for that. Wow, I am blown away. Thank you so much again.
This time, the movement isn't dramatic, but it's deliberate enough to catch his attention. Some viewers believe it's a response, subtle, controlled, and intentional. Ian considers possible explanations like pressure changes or airflow, but he can't find anything in the basement that would account for what just happened. Adding to the unease, longtime staff and investigators have shared rumors about this basement over the years. Some claim it's a hotspot for unexplained voices, especially late at night. Others say footsteps can be heard pacing back and forth when no one else is below, while a few report feeling sudden dizziness or heaviness in their chest after spending too much time down there. There are even stories suggesting the basement may have been used for private meetings and rehearsals long ago, leaving behind residual energy tied to intense emotion. So what do you think? Lingering energy from the theater's long history, or something more dangerous? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. This next clip is an update from the family that once opened their door after weeks of strange knocking. The same family whose life changed from odd disturbances to full-blown haunting. Now, just when they thought things might calm down, the activity has escalated, and it's getting worse, especially around the kitchen. Watch.
Padre Santo. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad así en la tierra como en el cielo.
This isn't the soft, tentative knocking of before. This is aggressive, hard, demanding. It rattles the door's frame. It shakes the house. It doesn't stop after 1 or 2 knocks. It repeats, builds, as though whatever's on the other side has run out of patience and is desperate to get in. That alone raises a chilling question. They once opened the door, and after that, chaos followed. So why is there knocking again? Some believe when a spirit becomes comfortable with a house, it doesn't stay alone. It invites others. And those other presences tend to be far less patient, far more dangerous. With this kind of knocking, the thing behind the door could be far worse than what first showed up. Opening it may no longer just let in a curious specter, but something malevolent, something hungry. As desperate as this family must be, at this point, opening the door isn't an option. Not until they have a plan or someone powerful enough to handle what might come through. If you were them, what would you do now? Change house? Set up protection? Call professionals? Whatever their next move is, one thing is certain. What's behind that door may be beyond anything they've seen before, and until we get more footage, more answers, or some clarity, this remains a mystery. This next clip is also an update from a previous investigation where a team of ghost hunters explored an old property that once belonged to an elderly couple who passed away, leaving the home abandoned for years. For days they've been at the house, documenting everything from soft knocks echoing through the hallway to objects subtly shifting whenever no one was looking. At one point, if they reached out to pick something up, no matter whether it was a notebook, a candle, or even a cup, the table would suddenly start vibrating violently until they dropped the item, almost like the spirit was warning them, "Don't touch my things." Even then, the investigators didn't leave. They felt strongly that whatever was there wasn't aggressive, only protective. So they tried something different, something that would confirm whether a spirit was truly responding to them. Watch this.
Da, nu știu, punem jos acolo.
Aici în casă?
Mai aici, în spate, la tablou. Au pisare asta, nu știu, pe ceva.
Așa?
Da, nu contează.
Dar ce vrei să fac?
Hai să vezi acum șmecherie.
Explică-mi și mie.
Deci lăsăm pe Nea Gheorghe aici, da? Bun. Acum. Închidem balconul. Eu am prins care-i faza, ca să știți.
Lasă-mă și noi, poate murim noi, ca măcar să
dar parcă n-ai mai murit.
Da, am murit, dar nu te mai am.
Oricare spirit te află aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare strigoi, prin puterea primordială, îți ordon să miști tabloul ăsta sau să-l dai jos sau...
Eu am murit.
Da? Deci ceva se lega. Nu mă sperii, nu rămân surprins. Fiindcă știam, eram sigur, 90% eram sigur că o să se întâmple chestia asta.
Adică când ne amândoi în balcon faci așa?
Da, fii atent. Stai așa că-l iau. Stai așa, mă. Am luat pe Nea Gheorghe și lăsăm aici.
Și acum ce se întâmplă? Din timp murim?
Băi, oricare spirit te afla aici, oricare entitate, oricare demon, oricare suflet neliniștit, prin puterea primordială îți ordon să miști. Du-te, fă cu meciul tău, tragă meciul tău, l-o da jos să moară familia mea, l-o dau jos.
That moment was all the proof they needed, and after that, the house changed. The activity grew stronger. Watch.
Ia-l repede, ia-l!
O căzut singur. O căzut singur. Hai de pula mea. De pula mea.
Doamne, mi-am făcut cruci. Credeți-mă pe bunic, mi-am făcut cruci. E gata, e.
Îl ard în tămâie.
E gata, nu mai, e gata.
Îl ard în tămâie.
O dispărut, mâncați-l. Tu, măi, Nea Gheorghe, măi.
Deschide-o acum, stai.
Oricare spirit te află aici, îți ordon să faci ceea ce faci, să faci în fața camerei. Poza e jos, mă, acolo, rămas jos.
What came next sparked a completely different debate among viewers. Have a look.
Bun, Nea Gheorghe, dacă tot ești acolo lângă păpușa aia, poți un pic să o miști sau să o faci să meargă? Deci dacă se mișcă păpușa, am plecat acasă, vă zic de pe acum. Băga mea și pula în dracu să-mi bag. Gata, îmi bag pula în casa asta. Gata, fraților, v-am bat în casa asta. Nu chidi, ieși afară, băga mea și pula, nică ne-o moară.
The discovery of those dolls shifted the entire conversation. Many began questioning whether the spirit they'd been communicating with was truly tied to the house, or tied to the dolls themselves. In the paranormal world, dolls are known to hold attachments. Spirits sometimes cling to them, reside in them, or even use them as vessels when they can't anchor themselves anywhere else. So now, there were two theories. Either the spirit belonged to someone who once lived in the home, or the previous owners unknowingly brought home a doll that already carried an attachment. After seeing those dolls move the way they did, the team didn't need any more convincing. They packed up their equipment, left the property immediately, and made it very clear they had no intention of spending another night inside that house. Now in this next video, a guy named Kyle, who you might remember from several of our previous videos, is still dealing with the same thing that's been tormenting him for months. Knocking sounds that seem to move from room to room, always following him, always getting louder. But this time, he was finally able to trace one of those knocks directly to the basement, and he discovered something that left him more confused than ever. Take a look.
Gosh dang it, I'm hearing that knocking sound again. There it is. Where is it coming from? Right there, right there. It's coming from this door. That's where it's been coming from. Somebody's knocking on that, or something is knocking on this freaking door. But there's nobody there, obviously. Well, at least I now know where it's coming from.
Finding no one at the door, no footsteps, not even a shadow fleeing the scene, left him with only one conclusion. Whatever is knocking isn't human. And honestly, after everything Kyle has been through in that house, this shouldn't even be surprising anymore. Because remember, this is the same guy who woke up one night and caught a dark figure standing frozen inside his crawl space, unmoving, just staring straight ahead as if it had been waiting for him. The same guy who's heard children laughing in the middle of the night, even though he has no kids, seen things in his attic shift around on their own, and has documented footsteps pacing inside the walls, things falling in the garage, small objects getting pushed across the floor, and the worst one yet, his home camera once caught a figure standing quietly beside his bed while he slept, vanishing just seconds before he woke up. All these incidents, from the crawl space, to the attic, to the garage, to his bedroom, and now the basement, connect in one disturbing pattern. Whatever is in this house moves freely, watches him, and makes itself known whenever it wants to. So until Kyle drops more updates, this remains one of the hardest cases to decode. In the following video, a guy and his partner have been dealing with something extremely unsettling inside their home. For days now, they've been coming back from work to find their living room and kitchen completely out of place. Pillows on the floor, cabinets half open, small items thrown across the room, and once, an entire stack of folded laundry scattered across the hallway as if someone walked through it intentionally. One of them insisted it had to be the cat, but the other argued that it didn't make sense. The cat isn't strong enough to knock over half the things they found on the ground. So, to settle the argument once and for all, they installed cameras. Here's what the camera caught. This clearly shows the cat is innocent, but it also confirms something else entirely. The couple now has another presence in the house, one they never invited and one they don't understand. And after seeing that footage, their minds immediately shifted from who did this to what exactly are we living with and how dangerous can it be? So look closely at the clips to see if you can piece things together. Watch. After this second clip, people in the comments began forming their own theories. Many said the movement feels exactly like a child spirit, but it didn't only happen during the day. Watch this. Now, how do you explain a chair rocking on its own in the middle of the night, almost as if someone was sitting in it and pushing off the ground with their feet? That detail alone shifted the conversation. Some viewers pointed out that this kind of night activity usually means the spirit is fully comfortable, too comfortable. Others believe the chair movement ties directly to the mess during the day, suggesting the same presence is active around the clock. If it really is a child spirit, it might not even realize it's causing fear, just doing what kids do, playing, exploring, touching things that don't belong to them. But until more updates are shared, and until the couple figures out exactly what kind of presence they're dealing with, this case remains completely unsolved. Now, this next video captures something that genuinely shook a lot of viewers, because it happened while Rebecca was homeschooling her kids. Watch.
2 and 0. So it's asking you which intervals in which the y is increasing. Select all and apply. Okay, so now we have it. So we have here to here. So the first one, -6, okay? And then we have, then it goes down, 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 up, and up. Okay, so we have -6 and -6 and 0.
At first glance, your mind wants to go with the simplest explanation, that the tree was already hanging by a thread. But according to Rebecca, the tree was still firmly attached to its base. No visible damage, no rot, nothing that looked like it was about to collapse. And then people who slowed the footage down began noticing something else. Something that made the entire situation feel way less natural. Several viewers claimed they saw a figure moving behind the tree just seconds before it began shaking on its own. So was it gravity, a rare coincidence, or something attempting to reveal itself through the only object it could manipulate? You decide. In this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visited Bonanzaville, an open-air museum filled with preserved historic structures from different eras of North Dakota. There's the old haunted tavern where staff have reported glasses clinking on their own, the mansion said to echo footsteps long after closing, and even a small church where a shadowy figure is often seen slipping between the pews. And of course, Ian decided to walk through all of it completely alone. He started his investigation inside the old train shed, an authentic 1930s passenger coach where visitors have sworn they've seen a phantom conductor pacing the aisle. But for Ian, that night, the train shed was calm. Where things shifted was the next building he stepped into, the telephone museum. Watch.
These phones are dead. They're not even on. I'm not even sure if you'd even be able to make calls with it right now. Could you move this? The rotary dial? Whoa, what the? Dude, that was a freaking straight up phone ringing in that room. Holy crap, that scared me. Did you just make one of the phones ring in that room? That was coming from that room over there. Oh god. Well, I suppose let's go answer it.
This museum has a long, unsettling history. Staff say the phones inside often ring on their own, connecting to other historical buildings across the property. But whenever someone picks up, it's only dead air. Others have reported seeing a ghostly woman drift through the aisles, appearing and disappearing between the old switchboards. So Ian, being Ian, decided to answer one of the ringing phones himself. Watch what happened.
Hello? Could you speak through this phone? Who called that phone earlier? Put my voice recorder up to it.
A faint whisper came through his recorder, and Ian couldn't tell whether the voice came through the phone or from somewhere else inside the room. Listen again. Some say the voice sounds like it's trying to speak directly to him. Others think it's the woman people claim to see in the building, but whether it's tied to the museum, the phones, or something else entirely, one thing is clear. Whatever haunts that building knew he was there. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now.